Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills here from the Blue Flame Apothecary. How are we all doing? I know we are in a very intense time right now. The things that are happening in the world around us are really painful to watch, and staying light within it all can be really challenging. So I want to first start out today. I'm feeling very called to shine light with each other, to hold this space open for a moment where we can allow that frequency of love which most plentifully flows through our beings to be dispersed around us, held within us, flowing through us, to allow it to flow down from our heart spaces through the roots that emerge out of our feet, through our earth star chakras, to flow into the earth, to seed the grid with that beautiful frequency of love light that is our unique signature, to allow it to expand up through our branches, to be that oxygen that the leaves flow through the atmosphere of the earth into our beings. Feel yourself breathing in the various frequencies of love light. That all of the other trees around you are sharing, as your beautiful frequency of love light is shared also throughout the world and the universe. All of cosmic creation. Today we're going to talk about karma and evolution. Yesterday, on the 4th of November, Saturn began to turn around ever so slowly and is now, if not moving, at least facing direct again. And as we come through the new moon on the 13th and deeper into the month of November, as Scorpio season begins to give way to Sagittarius season, as we come through the 1111 portal, as we come through the 1122 and the 1117 and the 117, which this year is astrologically Samhain, actually. We have many action points, seed points throughout this month, as we always do, right? But with Saturn shifting at the 00 of Pisces to begin forward movement in that higher heart area again, to open us up a little bit wider from the heart space, we have a really beautiful opportunity to talk about karma, because Saturn is the Lord of karma and the Lord of time. So we can feel how beautifully we can explore this. One of the ways that we're going to dive in is something that I see a lot when New Earth is talked about, and my higher self team and guides, the beings that I'm connected to, want to share a little bit about what karma in the new earth is. So the thing that I've been seeing a lot is that as new earth blooms, all this karma goes away, that that we will be living in a world without karma, which isn't exactly true. And the way that I'm going to share this with you is, if there's no karma, if karma completely goes away, the evolutionary process, the ability to learn also goes away. So can you feel through that, how as long as we have this beautiful school, this library, and this playground of Earth, this teaching space, karma will always exist. The thing that is changing is our relationship to karma, what we understand karma to mean. So many people think of karma as, I did that bad thing, this bad thing's coming at me. You did this bad thing to me, karma's a bitch. It's going to bite you in the ass. And it's not that that's not also true. It's just not as black and white as all that. In the mysteries, we call them the mysteries, and this beautiful unfolding, blooming flower that is life on this planet, because there's a lot of both and in it. And there's always more in the subtle realms than what we are picking up with our 5 natural senses. So let's feel for a moment that idea, karma's a bitch, and this is going to bite you in the ass if you did this thing. So on one level, if you do something knowingly bad to a person, yes, karma is going to be a bitch. It's going to be that savage Kali energy of no. And sometimes we can see people in our world who are doing something that we think is bad. We're like, how is that person getting away with that? How is that person getting away with that? If I did that, I would have this repercussion and I would have that repercussion. And some of it is precisely because you can see it, because you can hear it, because you can feel it. I could never get away with that. Because you're awake. You can feel how that thing is harmful and how it is not true. It is not soul growth. So therefore, yes, you could not get away with it. And the more, I'm not in love with this word, but I'm going to use it anyways. The more awake you are, the more aware you are of highest truth, the quicker doing anything that's out of alignment of that is going to repercuss on you. So if you're dead asleep and you're completely unconscious of what you're doing from moment to moment to moment, you might appear as if you're getting away with a lot more. You're able to be more selfish or have those like narcissistic tendencies, whatever bad might be, right? Whereas if you're conscious, if you're doing something and you know that it's not in alignment with your soul truth, yeah, you're probably going to be rebuffed pretty quickly, right? It's like a child. We can think of the unconsciously going about something that as a child, you know, if a 3-year-old does something like spill a glass of milk, we're just going to go really easy and small. If the 3-year-old spills the glass of milk and starts crying, the caretaker isn't going to say, "You should have known better." No, the caretaker says, "It's all right. No need to cry over spilled milk. Let's clean that up. Now you've learned, like, don't tip the glass over, and you get to continue to drink your milk. A 12-year-old who knocks his milk over, their milk over, that's an entirely different story. And a 30-year-old who does the same, that's another entirely different story. The 12-year-old deliberately knocked the milk over, right? If it was an accident, then it was an accident, and they're 12 years old. They knocked the milk over. You clean it up. But every stage of life, you learn more. And if something is done from a conscious place of, fuck you, I'm knocking this milk over, then the rebuke, the reaction is stronger. And as we're moving, I'm going to bring this into the astrology really quickly. As we're moving with Saturn now coming direct again through Pisces, part of this is a quickening. So when we think of this idea, new earth, there's no karma. There's this, well, it's just really fast. It's really fast. More and more people are awake. They're conscious. They're aware. So the things that they do have a more instant reaction. You know, caretaker probably isn't going to yell at the 3-year-old for spilling the milk. Might yell at the 12-year-old for spilling the milk. And if you're 30 and you spilled the milk, there might be some more consequences, right? Like, why did you really spill the milk? Obviously, accidents also happen. So as we're navigating, as we're learning, like, each of us as souls is different ages also. Some of us have been around for a really long time. We're in our last incarnations on this earthly plane. So we are less able to get away with things than a soul who is just coming into their early incarnations and is starting to learn the rules. And in the case of indigos and crystal children, we can feel them as they're here to break old rules that don't fit anymore. So yeah, there's also that place where we can play. Can you see, can you feel how complex karma is? Now, let's feel into this deeper place, that this idea, new earth, there is no karma. One of the messagings that one of the realizations, one of the feelings that this could evoke is that your next incarnation, you're going to incarnate with no karma. What would that mean? What would that look like? How would that be? Are beings going to be incarnating without karma? And there we go with those indigos and those crystal children again, right? And certain star seeds. If you are a virgin spirit, if you have never had an earthly incarnation before, in essence, yeah, you're incarnating without karma, but it's just without earthly karma because you haven't been here. You haven't loaded up your karmic backpack. You haven't been traveling and gathering lessons. You haven't been gathering lessons. So what you come in with in that case is, this is what my soul needs to experience. And the way in which, as we bloom more and more, as more new souls are birthed onto the new earth, the way in which they will learn these lessons is very different than us old souls have learned them. It's not going to be through violence. And pain will be very differently experienced. It's not, let me feel. as we reclaim our stories, I'm gonna leave the new souls, the virgin spirits, aside for a moment, and I'm gonna talk more about the old souls and those who have been incarnating for at least the last 100, 200,000, 2,000, longer years. Those of us who have had many incarnations on the earthly plane, even those who only started 2,000 or 500 years ago, we've had a lot of incarnations in the density, the most dense that the earth plane got. Because of that, we are going to be cycling through all of the karmic load that we've picked up through all of those experiences. And in a way, what we are doing is we are flushing the line back, both for our soul journey and through our ancestral lines. We're flushing the line back, running pure water through it. And we are also flushing the line forward through our soul's journey, through our ancestral's journey, so that our children and our nieces and our nephews and our grandchildren, on and on and on down the line, are not carrying as much of the karmic load that runs through the blood, that runs through the ancestral lines. The daughter isn't inheriting from the mother. The son is not inheriting from the father. Vice versa. All of the interplays in between all of those, of course. The child is not inheriting from the parent and the grandparent this long line of wounding. And so in that sense, absolutely, karma is going away in the new earth. But we still have to do our work in order for that to be possible. We need to get into our shadows and clear out all of that dense material. And this next couple of months, especially for those of us who've been on this journey for a little bit now and who have old souls, we are going to be asked to shed more and more. We're going to be asked to look at deeper and deeper wounds, older and older karmic load. Like, some of us are going to be asked to go back to origin. The first wound that became the through line of all of the wounds that we carried with us all the way down the line. The farther back we go, the more easily, it's like gardening, right? You can go in and you can weed whack all the weeds and get all of it'll look really nice for a little while, but all the roots are still there. They're going to grow right back up. So the farther back we go, the deeper in we go, the more easily we can pull out at the source. And then we run the line more cleanly. This is one of my specialties, is helping people do this. So if it calls, check the link below and request a consult, and we'll see if there's a way that we're going to travel the Akash together. There's also the Akashic transmission that I facilitated during the Arcturus portal. You can check a link below for that. What if, when people are feeling into the idea that New Earth has no karma, it's precisely because of this amount of work that we are doing currently, that we are flushing the line. We are flushing the line and clearing out all this violence and all of this trauma that our souls have endured through the many incarnations, clearing the garden, as it were, so that as these beautiful indigos and crystal children are incarnating, coming in with the new templates and the new codes, they can root those in, and up springs the new way in which we learn, the new way in which we learn. It's not that karma is going away. It's simply that the way that we have experienced it is changing. Our relationship to karma. And this is part of why we get this beautiful energy of Saturn in Pisces to play with as we're doing this. To help us access those old places, those old wounds, that long time, the chronological, chronos, the father wounds, so that we can get in there and say, okay, I can dream of a new way. I can dream of a new way. I can dream of a new way. That's Piscean energy. I can dream of a new way. I can see things that I could not previously see. I can understand things that I could not previously understand. That's Neptune, who rules Pisces in Pisces. I will have a longer update about the new moon, which is on the 13th, in the next few days. But it felt really important as Saturn is shifting and as we're coming into the Sun and Mars and Mercury all in Scorpio running together, and all of this Samhain 11/7 energy that's coming in a couple of days here. We are fully in this sacred time, this hallowed time, this Halloween, Samhain, Dia de los Muertos, right? It is all of this sacred, open, thin-veiled time so that we can access these places that are deep within us that we have hidden from ourselves. Remember, a demon is simply an aspect of ourselves that we have hidden. When we think of a mean ghost, it is an energy that has been trapped. And like anything, an animal, a human, if you have been trapped, if you cannot find your way out, you start to lash out. Our inner demons do this just as a land keeper who holds a vow to protect an area of land, who is not released from that vow and is killed, stays on that land and starts to throw some tantrums because they need some help. They haven't been released. And a lot of us are going to be activated to our gifts of helping transition people. So you may start to pick up a lot more of that. I didn't think that's where we were going to end today, but it feels like part of this karmic unveiling that we're experiencing is opening up our gifts in new ways, opening up our eyes to the gifts that we have that we may have thought were curses. Opening our hearts wider to receive the truth about who we are, where we've been, not just the good lives, but those lives where we abuse power. And if you tend towards the lives where you abuse power, maybe opening up to see those lives where you did some good stuff too. Or to open up to the knowing, to a truth that is hard to access, which is that sometimes that thing that looked like it was really bad was exactly what you needed for your soul's growth, or for the soul growth of a whole other group of people. It is only when we have been locked in this veil of linear time, of black and white, of separation and duality, that we have been unable to see and to access the higher truth that what we see is not always the whole picture. On that, we're going to sit here for just another moment and allow that beautiful, unique frequency of love light to flow through our space one more time. Sometimes I call these the Glinda bubbles. They're not always like pastel iridescent, but if you think of the Wizard of Oz, when Glinda first comes and meets Dorothy in what they call Munchkin Land, she arrives in this beautiful, transparent, translucent bubble and floats down to say hello. And this is something that exists within each and every one of us. It's not something we create outside of ourselves. It is something that we are allowed to and able to access deep within our heart space, to open up and allow to encircle us so that we may float. I often build it so that it's encompassing the entire property where I live, especially if there's a lot of noise around me. If you're traveling through, we're coming onto the holiday season, a lot of traveling through airports or driving, you can allow this beautiful Glinda bubble to rise up out of your heart, to be called forth out of your heart and encircle you in this beautiful translucent bubble of light. Mine tends to have a lot of blues and pinks and golds, but what color are yours? Maybe that's the practice as we come into Samhain and then towards the 11/11 portal and into the new moon in Scorpio on the 13th. Start playing around with your Glinda bubble, with that love light, that aura. Building your aura from deep within your heart, connecting the frequency of your heart to your aura, your etheric field. And with that, as always, and in always, so much and many loves to you from, through, and beyond the all dimensions.